The elevator stopped on the 42nd floor. Too softly. No music, no chime, just a mechanical sigh, like the building itself was tired of pretending this was a place of order. That's when I saw her reflection in the steel doors. Not alone. Her hand was wrapped around a man's wrist, confident, practiced. The kind of touch you don't rehearse, you inherit it through repetition. My chest didn't tighten, it hollowed. I stayed still, eyes forward, breathing slow. I watched them through mirrored metal as the doors slid open, revealing marble floors and glass walls drenched in money and silence. She laughed, a sound I hadn't heard in months, not since she told me she needed space, not since she said I was too comfortable with being small. The man leaned in, whispered something. She smiled the way she used to smile at me, before I stopped being useful to her dreams. They stepped out. I followed, not because I wanted answers, but because something inside me had already decided this was the moment everything would finally make sense. 3 weeks earlier, she had left with a suitcase and a carefully neutral face. No screaming, no accusations, just a quiet verdict. "You're good," she said, "just not enough." She didn't cry, neither did I. We were adults, she claimed. People grow, people outgrow. That night I sat alone at our dining table, staring at a glass of water I never drank. Her phone buzzed on the counter. She'd forgotten it in her rush to exit my life. I didn't pick it up right away. I waited, as if patience could soften betrayal. When I finally unlocked it, I didn't scroll. I searched. One name, saved without a last name. No heart emojis, no disguises, just A. Messages loaded like bullets, hotel confirmations, investment jokes I didn't understand, photos cropped to hide faces but not intimacy, and one sentence that stayed with me. He doesn't know, and he doesn't need to. That was when I understood. This wasn't an accident. This was a transition. I wasn't being left. I was being replaced. I didn't confront her. That would have been emotional, messy. I did something else. I watched. I watched her social media go quiet, then carefully curated. Watched her bank account statements I still had access to shift from shared expenses to sudden luxury deposits labeled consulting bonus. I traced the transfers. They all led back to one holding company, a subsidiary of my father's company. That's when the irony sharpened. My father never advertised who he was. No flashy cars, no interviews. He wore old watches and ate lunch alone. Wealth to him was a tool, not an identity. I'd grown up learning restraint. She'd grown tired of it. I requested internal access logs, quietly, as a personal audit. No one questioned me. They never do when your last name is on the building, even if you don't use it. That's how I learned the man's name. That's how I learned his father was a regional director. That's how I learned they thought I was poor. I practiced my calm in the mirror, perfected my silence, and waited. The confirmation came in an email. Subject line, "Approved visitors, executive floor." 2 names, hers and his. I arrived early, stood near my father's office, hands in pockets, spine straight, invisible. When she saw me, her face flickered, just for a second. Then the mask snapped back into place. "Well," she said, loud enough to be heard, "look who's here." Her boyfriend smiled, slow, evaluating. "Here to beg for a job, poor guy?" she added. He laughed. "Poor guys aren't allowed up here." I didn't respond. I didn't need to. The office door opened. My father stepped out. He took in the scene in one glance, then he looked at me and nodded. My father's voice didn't rise, it cut. "I fired your father," he said, pointing at the boyfriend. "This morning." The man froze. My ex-wife opened her mouth. "And yours," my father continued, turning to her, "for breach of trust. Both of you are done here." Silence collapsed the hallway, her face drained of color. She looked at me then, not mocking, not superior, small, confused. I leaned in, just enough. "You should have asked who I was," I said quietly. Security arrived. They didn't resist. They couldn't. Later, I stood alone in the office that had never felt like mine. The city stretched beneath the windows, endless, indifferent. I didn't feel victorious. I felt clean. She had wanted a life built on illusion. I'd given her truth instead. Some people mistake silence for weakness. I never correct them. I just wait. And when the moment comes, I let them remove themselves from my life. Forever.